Why mega infrastructure projects always go over budget. In 1997, the Big Dig project in Boston was supposed to cost $2.8 billion. When it was finally completed, the bill had grown to over $14 billion. And it's not an exception. From airports and bridges to railways and power plants, mega infrastructure projects around the world almost always go over budget. But why? Are engineers bad at math? Are governments incompetent? Or is something deeper going on? Today, we'll break down why megaprojects almost inevitably exceed their budgets, using real-world examples and simple explanations. First, what do we mean by a mega infrastructure project? Generally, it's a project that costs over $1 billion, takes many years or decades, involves governments, private companies, and the public, has major economic, political, and social impact. Examples include high-speed rail systems, large bridges and tunnels, airports, dams, and power plants. These projects are massive not just in size, but in complexity. And that's where the trouble starts. The first and biggest reason is something called optimism bias. Humans are naturally optimistic. We assume things will go better than they actually do. When planners estimate costs, they tend to underestimate risks, overestimate efficiency, assume best-case scenarios. This isn't usually corruption or incompetence, it's psychology. A famous study by Oxford professor Bent Floovbjerg analyzed hundreds of megaprojects and found that cost overruns are not random mistakes. They are systematic and predictable. Rail projects, on average, go over budget by 40 to 50%, bridges and tunnels by 30%. In other words, planners don't just get unlucky, they're consistently too optimistic. The second reason is politics. To get approved, a project must look affordable, fast, popular. So early cost estimates are often intentionally low, not because decision makers expect to stay within budget, but because once construction starts, stopping becomes almost impossible. This is sometimes called the lock-in effect. A perfect example is the California high-speed rail project. Originally pitched at around $33 billion, it's now estimated to cost over $100 billion, with no clear completion date. Once billions were already spent, canceling the project became politically toxic, so costs kept rising, and taxpayers kept paying. Another major factor is scope creep. Megaprojects last many years, and during that time, safety standards change, environmental rules get stricter, new technologies become available, public expectations increase. Each change may seem reasonable on its own, but together they can explode the budget. Take airports. An airport planned in the early 2000s might not include modern security systems, climate resilience features, advanced digital infrastructure. Adding these later is far more expensive than building them in from the start. The result? Higher costs, longer timelines, and endless redesigns. Mega infrastructure projects operate at the edge of what we can predict. Engineers may be world-class, but they're often working with unknown ground conditions, unpredictable weather, new or untested technologies. Tunnels are a great example. When digging underground, no amount of surveys can fully eliminate surprises. Weak soil, water ingress, hidden geological faults. The Crossrail project in London, now known as the Elizabeth Line, faced exactly these issues. Despite advanced planning, unexpected ground conditions, and technical challenges added billions to the final cost. Uncertainty is not a bug of megaprojects. It's a feature. Another hidden issue is who carries the risk. Often, risks are pushed onto contractors through fixed-price contracts. Sounds good for taxpayers, but in reality, contractors underbid to win, problems emerge, renegotiations follow, governments end up paying anyway. In some cases, contractors go bankrupt mid-project, causing delays and additional costs. Risk doesn't disappear. It just comes back later, more expensive than before. Yes, but they're rare. countries like Japan and Switzerland tend to perform better. Why? Conservative cost estimates, strong project management, stable political systems, long-term planning culture. They assume things will go wrong and budget accordingly. Ironically, being pessimistic early often leads to better outcomes later. So why do mega infrastructure projects go over budget? It's not just bad engineering. It's not just politics. It's a combination of human psychology, political incentives, technical uncertainty, long timelines and complexity, and other features. The real lesson isn't that we should stop building big things. It's that we need to be honest about their true costs. Because when we pretend megaprojects are cheap and easy, we don't avoid high costs. We just postpone them until they're impossible to ignore. And by then, the bill is already due. Ironically, being pessimistic early often leads to better outcomes later. That's it for today's deep dive into the hidden costs and challenges of mega infrastructure projects. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more engineering mysteries, case studies, and behind-the-scenes looks at how the world is built, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our weekly videos. Also, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear what project you think was the biggest engineering challenge. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.